all ready to go. Alright, so hello everyone, welcome back to Dyson Sphere program. Let's click resume and get back into it. Now, I'm going to be honest, I do not remember what we were doing last time. I think we were mostly just sort of doing random like sort of side tasks. We definitely, one of the last things we'd done was set up a dark fog farm to get us soil piles. So that's going. We've got all of this running, and we still need the sulfuric acid. We're researching drive engine level 3, which increases cruise speed, and then drive engine level 4, which gets mecha warp, which I think is the thing that lets us go to other planets. So that will be cool to have. And apparently there's some water just lying about somewhere. And okay, we can head over here and pick that up somehow. It says too far to operate. I'm standing right on top of it. So how do I do anything about that? I guess I can just remove it. It's just water after all. Alright, so let's look at our science production, right? So right now, science production, we're missing the titanium crystals. And the titanium crystals seem to be short on organic crystals primarily. So let's see if we can do any more to get that going. Also, my inventory is extremely messed up at this point. So these have all their separate inputs set up and ready to go. So I can just yoink this and copy paste it a couple more times to just get a little bit more speed on the organic crystal side. Right, mecha cruise speed has been increased. So that's cool, and these guys are going in. So that all gets built up, and now we need to grab some more chemical plants, which I'm not sure. Did I ever automate those? I feel like at some point I had at least started to work on automating them, but I can't remember if I got distracted or if I actually finished. Let's see, so if you fly over here, it looks like the answer is that I got distracted and didn't finish.
Flight mode.
Alright, so in that case we will just grab some glass and craft up a couple more of them manually. So we do that, and we can just click on that and get plenty of them.
Flight mode.
For what we're doing here. So now we can get back over here, get those buildings in, and it's all good.
Replication complete.
Alright, so we now have even more organic crystal production, and the only alternate recipe for organic crystal is wood, grass, and water, which seems like that's not really practical to ever automate, as far as I know. Okay, so now these guys are low on plastic, and the plastic is low on refined fuel, because of course it is.
Extraterrestrial
So
dark fog is
we
assaulted.
are going to have to deal with that. So we've got our... This stuff is making graphite and hydrogen. Now, if we take coal, hydrogen, and refined fuel, we can make more refined fuel. So that is an option, and I believe it's probably going to be a better option than just trying to expand this row even more. Although, okay, there is actually a thing. So this is not enough crude oil, I suspect. If we fly all the way down here to the end.
Flight mode.
Yeah, these last couple aren't running. So we can improve our crude oil supply a little bit, which will help. But I think we just need to get that other recipe in, the reformed refinement, because we have hydrogen from the gas giants. The coal is annoying that we have to deal with that, but it is what it is. So let's... Okay, this is actually going to be quite an issue getting the refined oil into the setup like where we need it to be, because obviously with the way the main bus works, this is going to be like all the way down here, which is an issue. So let's go down here, and do we have actually... Yes, we do have plenty of oil refineries. So we'll cut that out, and disconnect everything over there, which isn't really much of anything. Now we need to get the oil refineries in. And I need to remember this has 3 inputs and 1 output. So let's get the belts going. That's number 1, that's number 2, that's number 3. And then we need some foundation in this area, which let's just try to space that out a little bit. And now we can get these guys in. So we have 2 of those for now, and then you have 1 output belt, which is going to go up this way and then somehow wrap all the way backwards by like 1 billion miles. So we start by getting all this stuff powered up, and this belt needs to go a little bit further, I think. So that all goes out, then we get those inputs, and then it goes across. So you now are set to that recipe, which we just copy paste across to the other one as well. And then we can just pop in a power pole there so that that's all set up. And now this needs a... Where is it? Spray coater aligned with all the other spray coaters, which I believe to be there. So that goes across and in like that. Then we also can just get a power pole in there so that the spray coater is powered up. Okay, so we need refined oil. Oh, I guess the refined oil is just going to have to be a loop, right? So we need this to be different then, right? I remember having this sort of weird problem with the other oil refinery thing. So we need this spray coater to be like back here somewhere. So that goes back there-ish. And then, past that, we clear everything out and we put in a splitter. So you then get fed into this splitter, and then you feed over to there. And then you also feed forwards like that. Alright, so now that's our output priority. So that should provide us all the refined oil that we need. So then we just need to bring in the hydrogen and the coal and then get this belt out somewhere. So the hydrogen, obviously right here. Let's just get that moving forwards a little bit. This entire area is looking incredibly gross just because of all the weird foundation blobs and tiny little puddles and stuff. But it is what it is. So that goes across and loops out and into there. So that is that. Then we get the coal set up. So I'm pretty sure we have coal over here on the main belt somewhere.
Flight mode.
I'm pretty sure we like awkwardly added it in halfway or something. So I'm not sure where. I guess we can... I really need to just dump my inventory out real quick. Let's find a... Pretty sure I had some boxes like right here that I can just throw some stuff in. Like all that water, all that random ore, random hydrogen, and
Mineral
we
depleted.
don't need replicator or slow belts. We don't need combustible units anymore. Some of these are like crafting items which I could conceivably need at some point, so I don't know if I want to, you know, if I get rid of the copper, then I'm just going to pick up copper to craft something at some point. But we don't need crude oil. I can get rid of that. Alright, let's just leave this as is. I actually want a small amount of refined oil in my inventory. Things are better off now, at least. Alright, so coal. Yeah, coal is right here. So we take this belt forwards. And it just has to go all the way. All the way down here. And we're not doing research right now, but we are building up science stockpiles so that we'll be able to do research quite quickly when I get around to clicking the next one. Which I'm currently not in a huge rush to do. So this just keeps on going forward. We're almost there. Alright, so this is just about the right vicinity. So now we can pop down another horrible little square of foundation. At some point, I just need to get like a trillion foundation and just fill in the entire thing and just have the entire planet turned into a nice solid foundationed area. That would require so much of everything, so I'm not going to do it until it becomes easy. Alright, so that is all in. Now we just need to run down here and get this stuff finished off. So all of these belts get built up, and then that should be good. So this all gets built. We just have to walk along as we do it. How much yellow science? We have 400 yellow science built up, which is not enough to do the next research that I want to do. So I don't think I'm going to even bother assigning it just yet, because it wouldn't make any difference on the amount of time it would take. And if I change my mind in the meantime, then it could be useful to not have wasted all those research points. Alright, so this all goes forwards. And the last couple, there we go.
Flight mode.
So now we have coal coming out this way. And so we can fly down here. And now the coal goes in. And we just need to get this bootstrapped with a little bit of that stuff. And that should just get it going immediately because we have the priority set properly. So the refined oil will loop around and get working there. Now what's the actual returns on this? It's basically 1 coal, 1 hydrogen to 1 refined oil. And it's every 4 seconds, so it's not hugely fast, but it's not super slow either. So that is doing its thing, looping around, giving us our refined oil. So eventually this will start producing excess refined oil. And we're probably going to need more than just the 2 of these, so let's get a good old-fashioned copy paste and just place a bunch of these. Alright, then get another one and another one. And that'll be good for now. So now we just get all these guys connected. And that goes across. And it all connects up. And this should give us the refined oil that we need to do various things that is having oil problems. Okay, so that needs a connection as well. And now this is all going, and we just need to wait a little bit for it to get finished up. So obviously it needs to build up this entire internal buffer type area here before it can start sending oil out. But when it comes time to send oil out, we need to figure out how exactly we're doing that. And I guess we just have to take it out past the edge of the bus and then bring it like most of the way back, if not all the way back. Because we don't want it to be outputting in this area because we don't really need that much refined oil past here. We need refined oil up that way. So that's where this whole bus type design kind of starts breaking down. When you have a new recipe that you need to use for something that already exists. Alright, so this all goes out. And then you go a little bit further. And now you can start running along this way. And we should eventually start to see, yes, we now have spare refined oil coming out this way. So that internal buffer area has been filled. And now we just bring all of this down. And I don't know where exactly we need to go to for this. But we're just going to keep on building this out until we find a reasonable spot. So one of the places which definitely needed it was the plastic, right, for the organic crystals. So if we just go back to the plastic, then that would be a reasonable spot to add it in, if not a little bit earlier than that. Would be fine. Alright, so all this stuff gets built. And we have a nice backlog of refined oil coming in. And here it goes. Now we just get the belts across. Okay, so somewhere around here, hopefully, ought to be a good spot for it. So yeah, we have these 2 places for this hydrogen producing alt. is receiving refined oil to keep up with the graphite and hydrogen supplies, and then this one is making plastic. So I actually want to put it in after this. So I want to put it into that row so that it doesn't, we don't use hydrogen to produce refined oil to produce hydrogen to produce refined oil. That would be quite inefficient. Alright, so we bring the belt out to there. Now we need to do a little bit of fixing with this. So we need you to turn a little bit earlier and then go in that way so that we have room for this to go in to there. And that should hopefully be good. Now I will find this, and I think input priority should be top so that we don't use this alt recipe more than necessary. I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea, but it is what we're doing now. Alright, so how much plastic is this? This is 1 plastic every 3 seconds, which means it's 2 refined oil every 3 seconds. Alright, no, this is 1 plastic every 3 seconds. The organic crystals require 1 plastic every 3 seconds per machine, so we need to have at least as many plastic machines as organic crystal machines. So we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 organic crystal machines and 4 plastic machines. So I need more of these, which means I need more steel.
Flight mode.
Alright, so where is the steel? It's up here. Just grab a bunch of that. And that should hopefully... No, but we have to make green circuits as well. So let's grab a bunch of those. So that is all queued up now. We can pop down here and just start copy pasting these guys in.
Replication complete.
So this just needs to skip past the tropic line and all get built up. Alright, so how are the numbers looking? We have 4 plastic up there, plus another 6 is 10. We have 3, yeah, so this, oh, we need to set this up to align properly. There we go. So that should be fully enough plastic. And now we just connect up past the tropic line, which goes in like that. And now apparently we need power poles to sneak in here every so often. And there we go. That's all good. Now we just need to connect these belts up. Alright, so that now has everything running and outputting. So that should be enough plastic. In theory. In theory, we have 10 plastic machines and 9 organic crystal machines. We should only need 9 plastic machines. So, assuming the refined oil is sufficient, which it is absolutely not, we can tell that already. That should be good. We just need so much refined oil. It's completely insane how much of that stuff we need.
Flight mode.
How's the yellow science doing? We have up to 1,000 of it now. Alright, so drive engine requires mecha core level 4. Is that something we can actually do? No, it isn't. We need purple science. Dang it. Alright. So we're going to have to get around to doing that at some point. So now let's just do that. Get our construction ability a little bit quicker. That'll always be nice to have. And then we will fly down to the other end and see how all this is going now. So you are still running full speed, but how much refined oil do you even make? So this recipe makes 1 refined oil every 4 seconds, so that's 15 per minute, right? And then the plastic requires so much more. We need so much freaking refined oil. It's completely insane. Is there any good way of getting this stuff? We just need like a massive oil processing area, I think. We just need way more in order to get anything done ever. Alright, so let's just give up on trying to get that even faster for now. I think we've basically reached what we can realistically accomplish with that. And I think at this point we are having the issue where the battlefield analysis base at our dark fog area is filled with random junk. And so the stuff is just winding up as litter. So we should probably go over there and deal with that at some point as well. So, our next goal though is, it's gotta be to start chipping away at getting towards information matrices, right? So we need processors, which we have, and these blue things, which requires plastic, because of course it does, crystal silicon, and carbon nanotubes.
Upgrade complete.
Alright. We've done that upgrade. We can make our inventory even bigger. Or we could just like bank some of this stuff for later. I guess this is just like incredibly cheap to run, so we can just do that. And there's some of these other things which are not super expensive. Alright, so we are going to be starting on our purple science production. And we just need to get like any amount of purple science production running. Doesn't need to be great. So,
Flight mode.
Crystal silicon. We've got that. So that's one step we don't need to worry about. Then the plastic we technically have. Quantities are pretty bad, but it is what it is. And then the carbon nanotubes, we need to get graphene and titanium. I'm pretty sure we have both of those. So let's just run down here and we could make graphene with the advanced recipe, but I think that requires sulfuric acid, which, let me guess, is refined oil. Yeah, alright, we're definitely going to be getting fire ice to make advanced graphene so that we don't have to deal with all that nonsense. It will mean needing some way of getting rid of our excess hydrogen, but that will be something we need to just figure out.
Flight mode. Mineral depleted.
So we have access to fire ice basically anywhere we need. So let's just like pop that onto the bus maybe. So we have graphene We have
Flight
graphene
mode.
down here using the old version. I wonder if we just, like, replace that with the new version of graphene. So if we just fly all the way down here, we should eventually encounter one singular chemical plant making graphene. And that is using a large amount of stuff. And oh boy, yard work. Please, I cannot hear myself talk. Okay. Please just leave me alone. Okay. So, that... Okay, they've made it louder now, and now they're just messing with me. They're officially just messing with me at this point. Okay, so what we need to do is take this and just cut out its inputs and obviously leave its output. So we need to take that sorter and set its filter to be graphene. That's just preemptive. Now we take this and we change its recipe to graphene advanced. Alright, so now we drain both of those, and we need to take out its inputs, and we need to mess with this quite a bit, but it should be fine. So you get one input and another output, and this second output will be hydrogen. So now we need one of you guys on here. Oh, and this belt needs to be reversed. So you point that way, and you get a spray coater. Alright, so now that should be most everything, and we can just mass dismantle those belts back to their inputs. Now we go down this way,
Reset complete.
and we actually just have an interstellar logistics system right here, which is actually incredibly convenient. So you are going to take in fire ice as a remote receiver, and it says there's none in transit. What is up with this interstellar logistics station? Why are you being useless? You have vessels. You have remote receiver triggered. Alright, I officially don't know what's wrong. Maybe something broke on the other side. That must be it. There must be something broken with our input source. So that we'll need to just worry about figuring out what happened there in a minute. For now, we need to play the game of getting this stuff all the way across everything. Okay, so there's a belt there which we need to pop over, so you actually need to sort of go over that. And then there's like a bunch of belts here which are gonna be in the way. Okay, so can you just like... Can you just like go way up? No. Alright. How about we actually go over to the right a little bit? So we take all that stuff out, and you... Oh, it escaped too many times. You come over this way. And then you can pop over that. And then pop over that. And then you can come all the way down here. No, that's not going to work either. That isn't going to work either. Alright, what if we just have you approach this from a different angle entirely? So what if instead of going over there, you try to cross, like, in this general path? Maybe that will be easier. So all that stuff gets cut back. And then this goes over here. And over there. And then over that, and we've done it. Okay. So that is officially connected up. And now we just need to figure out what's wrong with our fire ice supply. And then we'll be able to just expand this graphene out a bunch. So first of all, let's head over to these guys. So you are the other place that uses fire ice, and you have some in transit. Oh, is it just that we don't have enough production to satisfy all the requests? Like, all the fire ice has been brought over here? That's probably it, actually. So, I just need to, step one, get fully charged up. So where is my mega charging facility? It's right over here. So we land here. Next, check the inventory, and I have currently not gotten... I don't currently have any gas giant extractors in my inventory, so if we just pop over to where those are crafted... Oh, I do have those automated. I don't need to be manually grabbing chemical plants crafting every time. Let's just grab a stack of those then, because at some point in the future I'm inevitably going to need that. And then we've got these. Let's just grab a bunch. And my inventory is in shambles again. I have 3 spare slots. Okay, I have some boxes here that I can throw stuff into. So all that sulfuric acid can go. And let's see, what else do I not need? Refined oil and hydrogen probably can go. That should be fine. And we'll just leave it as that for now. Alright, so now I just need to go up to the giant, massive gas giant that's like 6 inches away from me and see what your problem is.
Flight mode.
Okay, there we go.
Cruise mode.
Probably didn't need to set the target like that, but it's fine. Alright, so now...
Cruise ended.
Now we're here. And this is our resource collector thing, and it is, yeah, it's getting both items as fast as possible. Okay, I need to do that so that I don't run out of power here and explode. So now we just need to get a bunch of these guys in. So we can just slap down like as many of these as we can along the equator. And that should completely solve our shortages of everything that these guys produce. And just a little bit more. Okay, let's just do one more for now, and this should be like complete overkill, right? We should never need this many. Okay, so now
Cruise mode.
we go back and we pop over to here. And that should be fine.
Cruise ended.
So now we can just land and
Flight mode.
find out where we placed that in. It's like back down this way pretty far, I think. So we should have this giant interstellar logistics station. Yeah, there it is. And you still aren't having any luck. So you're set to remote receiver. You have both of those set. But you're not doing anything. So we have all these guys piling up. And yet no luck. Okay, so that obviously is not what we need. So you have now 600 of that in transit. I don't know why it keeps wanting to deploy logistic drones into that. Okay, stop it. I have to deselect that, I guess. Okay, so this should work. There's no reason that this would not be working at all. Let's see here. Interstellar logistics. Those, I don't know what all this means. I saw a thing back here, priority settings. So we can set this up maybe to be higher priority. Point-to-point transport needs to be configured after naming this station. It's the highest priority mode. Once established, paired stations will prioritize executing point-to-point transport tasks before proceeding others. So you name the station, and then you can set up like two things which just go past each other. Interstellar routes have low priority than point-to-point. Alright, I don't understand what that does. Groups. To set the group of the current station. If they overlap in any way, they're part of the same group. Alright, yeah, I just don't understand. Okay, no, but it is getting delivered now. So we have 300 of each showing up. So it must have just been that we didn't have enough. And now we should hopefully have plenty of all these things to keep these running. So that goes in, and now we need to set up this hydrogen output to feed back into the whole hydrogen output thing, which is this one. And how on earth are we ever going to be doing that? I guess we can just like yeet it over here onto this belt if we need to. Oh, I did this terribly. This is one of those things where it's just like impossible to select the spot that I want to. Okay. So now I have that. So I need to get out to the hydrogen belt, and that's just like in the midst of 10 billion other things. Alright, so I think I have a route which should work. So if we just go all the way over to there, and then loop around like that, that should function properly. And hopefully doesn't cause any weird issues. And then, now we should be able to copy paste you. Of course, there's just like a random power pole there. We're going to need to remove. And we're going to need to reset up the power for some of that stuff in a minute. Alright, so that now goes in. And we just have to get all those placed up. And that ought to do it. So now we've got a couple of those. We can set up all this stuff. Oh, I grabbed an extra belt. That's funny. Oh well, so that belt there doesn't do anything, but it just got sort of wrapped up in our copy-paste job, which is fine by me. And of course, somewhere in here is a sorter that needs to be upgraded. So let's just get all those upgraded. And now we have this. And it's all good. And that should provide enough graphene for whatever we needed graphene for. Like, clearly we were short on graphene even before this. But I don't know what was, like, actively using a bunch of it. So let's actually investigate that. So the only place that's seriously using it are the particle containers. So that's fine. So that we can now just bring this forwards a bunch and get all of its belts built up in the process. Having those extra construction drones definitely does make this a fair bit easier. So we just bring this belt forwards, and we just keep going. So that goes out, and the construction drones get everything built. It's just a very, very long path when it's a belt like this that hasn't been used in a long time. But we could just take it all the way forwards, and that is about to the right spot that we need it to be. So the carbon nanotubes are graphene plus titanium, and we combine those with plastic and silicon crystals to make particle broadbands, and then we combine both of those up with processors to make information matrices, and then we have a new type of science. So let's start by clearing out all of this area, since it's obviously not needed anymore. Okay, so pop down here. Carbon nanotubes are in chemical facilities, because of course they are. Why would they ever not be? So we need you to have an input and an input and a chemical plant and
extraterrestrial dark fog is assaulting.
Output. Also, I just realized I never connected this refined oil thing. You need to get connected into that, and then this belt has to wrap it back up and around. So just like that. So now that's all the more efficient stuff, which is important for refined oil production, such as it is. And hopefully the fact that we now don't use all that stuff making sulfuric acid will save some refined oil consumption as well, which should help us out a lot. So now we just get all of this stuff attached in. And then that belt will go forwards. So you are making carbon nanotubes. And you get one inserter, another inserter, and an output. Seems like dark fog is assaulting every 5 seconds these days. I'm sure that's fine. Oh, that's not the type of power tower I meant to place there. Let's dismantle that and put in a regular one. Alright, these attacks are starting to be more serious. Like, we're having lots of damaged laser turrets now. So we're going to have to probably do something about that. But we still have some time, so we need graphene and titanium. Graphene is up there already. So that just gets a splitter into there. And that then just goes out and connects across. Alright, next up, titanium should be this belt right up here, nowhere near as far. So that goes in, gets a splitter, connect it up, and then it comes out. And we have carbon nanotubes. Alright, so now we are going to want to make a bunch of these. We're going to want to make a bunch of these because this is for science production, which means like we can theoretically use like basically an infinite amount. And place the foundation, and we got this weird belt up here in. Let's clear that out. Put a power pole in. And now we connect all of these guys up. Wait, that goes backwards, obviously. So we need to make that not go backwards for no reason. And connect up properly. Okay, so now, if we copy-paste this, we can get more of that in at once. And we do all that. That should be good for now. I mean, we're probably going to have all sorts of shortages that prevent us from using this to its full capacity anyways, so making it go extra lightning fast doesn't necessarily make sense. And this stupid thing is going to need if we can just get you. Oh, this ridiculous tropic line is the worst thing in the world. We just have to dismantle all of this stuff and build it just like a little bit to the side so we have more room, hopefully. And we might even need to just dismantle that one so that we can have the space in like north of the tropic line to get this to fit in. So yeah, now if we do this, these can just adjust to the right a little bit and work just fine. And you need to do that a little bit sooner. And what on earth? What have I been doing? You need to like do something like that. And then this goes up like there-ish. And we get a power pole, and we will call that good for now, I think. So we have carbon nanotube production, nice and easy. Let's put in a research. Let's see, what research? How about inventory capacity? That, I've been commenting on how absolutely catastrophic my inventory is right now. Alright, so we have carbon nanotubes. We take that, plus plastic, plus silicon crystals in just regular old assemblers to make particle broadbands. And then that should be all that we need. So we can get that blueprint placed in and connect the replicator up. Then you need to get set to make particle broadbands. Alright, now you just have to go up here and it's nanotubes. It's nanotubes, plastic, silicon crystals. So the nanotubes go all the way down this way. And where exactly is the
Flight mode.
furthest up item on the bus? It looks like it's... Okay, it actually looks like it's these. So we just bring that belt forwards. And...
Flight mode.
Did I, like, not add... Oh, right, so that didn't add onto the bus here because it's getting sent backwards. That didn't add onto the bus because we're just trying to destroy excess hydrogen in a vaguely useful way. That didn't add onto the bus because it's just like random stuff for my own personal use. So yeah, this is correct. So that is the most recent item on the bus, and it's also coincidentally something we need for this. So that works out. Which means that this needs to go... Just put foundation in. And you need to be there. Which means that can go a little bit back. And then pop around into that. Okay. Now we have...
Insufficient materials.
Immediately after that, another one of those for you. And then we need to go and find the plastic somewhere. And actually, I don't think we need that to be there. It'd be easier if we have you there, and then you go on a little bit further out, just for belt convenience purposes. So those two go across like that. Now we need to go back and find plastic, which is always the thing. Alright, inventory. So much more space now. You'll love to see it.
Flight mode.
We are no longer scrambling for the last bit of space. We are, however, scrambling for every little scrap of plastic that we can get. So this belt comes out this way. And it just keeps going, and it just keeps going. And this just goes forwards until we don't need it to go forwards anymore. Alright, so that's out here. And we just get it built, and that will be a somewhat dubious quantity of plastic. Be greater than 0, but not fantastic, and it'll slow down my yellow science research production whenever we have this doing anything, which is not ideal. We really need to do something about that at some point. Alright, so that all gets finished. And now we have plastic coming down this way.
Flight mode.
So now we have plastic coming down this way. And that can start to pile up on the belt. And you get a splitter. So those are all in. That is already built, so now we just have to connect these up over there. So you just go like that. This one just goes in to the next lane. And this one just goes in to the next lane, and that should theoretically be everything. So that is all sorted out. And are these guys producing? They are. Doing it quite slowly, but that's to be expected. So we can obviously add more of these as needed to get the science going. But speaking of the science, if we check, this requires those particle broadbands and processors. We have both of those. So let's start by just like maybe somewhat optimistically giving this a belt lane. So you go forwards around all that. Will this belt lane ever get used? I'm sure it will at some point, right? They're not gonna add an item that literally only gets used for one thing, right? That would be silly. We'll see. So that goes onto the bus, and then it can just come right back down to here, where it's going to be doing some science stuff. So we get a little bit of foundation that we don't need much for this. And we need we need 2 input belts. There and there. Then we get the science lab itself, which apparently just need the tiniest bit more foundation. So you go into there, and then you get an output belt, which goes up that way, and gets a spray coater, because I'm pretty sure that increases the amount of science we get per science or something. So that goes, the whole thing gets powered. You're going to be told to make purple science. Now, we just have to stack you up to the maximum height that we can. And now this should have all the throughput that's possible. So that goes out like that. And now we just need to get our inputs in. So first of all, let's go back and find us where the processors go.
Flight mode.
Probably a bit back this way. Yeah, here they are. Didn't have to go too far at all, which is always nice. So this belt just goes forwards a bunch. And now it's out in the right vicinity. So you get a splitter, and you get a splitter. So that goes into there, this goes across to there, and now this just drops down, loops in, and goes into that input side. Then this one just has to drop down all the way over to here and go into that input side. And then all this gets built up. And then we're just going to need to finish off the last couple chunks on on this belt. Alright, so that is in. So now we fly down this way, get all of this stuff finished off. There we go. So that's processors, check.
Flight mode.
And we now have purple science production, in theory. Right, so now we should see purple science coming out on these belts any second now. There we go. Produced the first information matrix. Very nice. Okay, so now we just take this out, and this doesn't need to go on the bus. This just needs to sort of go around this way past the bus. And then it goes all the way over to here. It's past a whole bunch of things, and we apparently have spent a long time out of range of our drones that restock us on belts. So we're going to do all the belt placement we can, and then go back to restock. Down to 33 spare belts. So this goes out. I seem to have a decent supply of purple science already, so it's not terrible. Alright, so that's every single blue belt placed. Now, if I go here, we don't have the items to do anymore, so we just have to fly all the way down this way to try to find out where those go. So, if we're here, then these are the drones which keep us stocked up. And those are just showing up bit by bit. It seems like a lot of them were sort of stranded in between where I was and where this is. Alright, so now we got all that done. Let's head back.
Flight mode.
Let's head back and get this science finished off. So we have 2,000 yellow science backlogged, which is a lot, actually. So our improvements to plastic and everything must have helped that quite a bit. Okay, so now this comes down into the right general area. It gets a splitter with a box on top so that it can stockpile as needed when we're not doing anything with it. Because there are still some researches which only require yellow science that we are going to be doing. We don't want to be wasting our opportunity to produce purple science in the process. Alright, so that goes. We have 96 purple science. And now we simply get this belt connected across. And 1, 2, 3. And that first one apparently needs a power pole. Alright, so purple science is now loaded up into the labs. And we can start doing some stuff. So Mecha Core, the next level of that gives us even more core energy, more durability, and everything. But it requires 500 purple science. That doesn't require any. That requires 1,000. So we can do just like some random yellow science related research while we wait for our purple science to build up. Like we could improve our logistics carrier capacity, for example. Research speed, don't need that because we can just place more things. Alright, so if we go into here, what purple science do we get? We have all these things which are just yellow science. And this is mostly combat stuff. We can get Corvettes with 600. So that is a step for the future, I think. Everything up here requires all sorts of fancy stuff to get to. Like, we need to unlock all these things. So I think it is probably just get Mecha Core researched. We get Mecha Core researched. That's going to take all of the purple science we have, and we're going to have to expand purple science production as well, which we can pretty easily do now, although it is annoyingly far away from our stockpiles. It could be worse. So, we fly down here, and this obviously needs more. So you have plenty of plastic, plenty of everything else. So if we just expand this out, it should be quite manageable. We're not going to like instantaneously run into shortages of everything. Although I think that copy paste didn't grab this. So I think we need to do that. And that copy paste should have everything we need and nothing we don't. So let's just get those in. And that bottom one is probably going to need to be removed for the tropic line, but also might not even come to that point because we very well might not have the resources to actually keep up with what we're doing here. So let's get all these guys connected across and then see what happens. Alright, so that is everything running out of those guys. I really need to just get around to making assembly machine Mark IIs, by the way. That would save a fair bit of effort on some of these guys. Alright, so that's all going. Everything is good. We have 7 per minute per machine, which is quite slow. Like, these belts are hardly moving, despite the fact that we are theoretically using them. But it is doing its thing. So that's like just about one every 10 seconds, maybe more like one every 9 seconds to be precise. Somewhere around there. I guess we can actually check. Yeah, it's one every 8 seconds. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. So we get 1 per second from particle broadbands in theory, plus some from our replicator stuff. And then these are 1 to 1, so we should be getting 1 purple science per second, assuming everything lines up properly with our current setup. And then that's also, again, not taking into account spray coating stuff. So, let's see here. Mark II assembly machines should be easy to do, right? So it's just processors, graphene, and Mark I assembly machines. I have no idea where the Mark I assembly machines even are, though, so it's probably actually not going to be super easy. I don't even know if we auto-craft those down here, actually. Those might be only up to the northern base where we started. Alright. We are clearly having some issues up at our Dark Fog farming base. So, let's see. We have 39 laser turrets, a battlefield analysis base, 17 missile turrets, and a couple hundred missiles. So we should be able to deal with them. Now, as far as fuel goes, how's our fuel looking? Okay, we actually have tons of fuel. so that should be fine. So let's go to the star map. I can't even remember which planet that's on. I think it was Agena 1. It might have been Agena 2. Oh, wait. First, need to register. Where's the hive? It's right there. Alright, let's stop by Agena 2 first, and then hopefully
Flight mode.
that solves the problem. And let's also grab another stack of fuel while we're at it,
Cruise mode.
just in case. Okay, so we need to go around Agena 3. And we're just going to head towards Agena 2. And we can go so fast with our new upgrades. Although we do not have the core energy to actually get all the way up to 2,000 meters per second.
Cruise
All right.
ended.
We've managed to land right next to our base. And this base... Yeah, so this was the one which was not set up to have issues. Oh, so that was just damaged as a result of the battlefield analysis base being kind of slow, maybe? No, that seems like that's fine. The radius here looks correct. I guess there's no reason not to just like scooch this forwards a bit so that it's in the area we need it to be. So that's all in, and you get your precision drones, and we need to just pop some of those in. Okay, I don't know what all this is about. Alright, so that is definitely enabled, and it definitely has the precision drones to do it. So, theoretically, those should help, but I've never seen them actually do anything useful, so we will have to see if that changes. Okay, so now we're here, we're trying to get to there, and the hive is directly on top of us. I mean, it's so directly on top of us that we get an achievement for it. Can we just like look up there and see it? Okay. Pinnacle of mechanical engineering in the previous era. Although its past glory is waned due to cosmic radiation, its internal mechanical structure remains intact and operates unceasingly to monitor and manage the whole hive's expansion. Central Core constructs relay stations that build planetary bases on each planet. Central Core will consume massive amounts of energy and matter to create the seed during the late growth phase of the hive. It will also dispatch the seed to new planetary systems to grow into new dark fog hives. Cool. And then it's got a bunch of Dyson sphere node things, basically, and maybe can steal energy from our Dyson spheres. And then these, absolutely cannot keep hold of them. Alright, so yeah, that is
Mineral depleted.
Fun lore there. And also some good to know information. Like that if we start building a Dyson sphere, they can yoink our power somewhat. Alright. Mecha Core level 4 is almost there. And then we'll be able to unlock Mech Warp, apparently.
Upgrade.
Alright, so we have once again doubled our max core energy and gotten a lot more durable and everything. Alright, drive engine also requires gravitational wave refraction. I wish they gave you more space for that. Alright, gravitational wave refraction. Where is that? That is down here. Okay, and it just requires some stuff. So we start by researching strange matter, which is a prerequisite for that. And then, okay, so the mech fuel chamber currently has nothing in it, so we'll have to load that up. Once we have all of our power just slowly charging under this signal tower. And now we should be more than good enough. And has the hive left us alone yet? Yeah, it's basically out of the way now. Alright, so let's throw some fuel into the fuel chamber and get moving.
Flight mode. Cruise mode.
Alright, so off we go. Please ignore me, Hive. Really rather not get zapped, if at all possible. Alright, so we are now up to max speed, and we can get around really quickly nowadays. 2009 somehow. And splat straight into the planet. Okay, there's dark fog hives kind of everywhere on this planet.
Flight mode.
I just sort of landed directly in between three of them. Alright, so now we just fly back to here. And so this is the base we have, which is constantly fighting dark fog. And yeah, it's completely filled up with assorted junk. I guess, let's see, what of this is the most valuable? Maybe the titanium and the silicon and energy shards. And I guess we can just grab just some of these more processed components, because might as well, right? And then just some other random junk. Alright, so let's get a belt out of these guys. So if we just put a belt like there and connect you up to that, and then we can make a large stockpile there. So that should help keep this empty, which I don't even know if that's like a super big deal, but might as well, right? Also might as well just top up a couple of stacks of items that we have in our inventory. Alright, so other than that, this stuff here seems to be doing just fine. Like, we frequently have laser turrets that are damaged, but it's not actually like a crisis. I might want to start sort of poking the bear and get rid of some of these planetary bases. That will make the space hive a little bit more mad at me. Alright. Strange matter, check. Which is not terribly difficult to get, it looks like. And then we can unlock gravitational wave refraction. And then that should be all the prerequisites for the super fancy high-tech thing that we're working on. The ability to go to other planets. Or other solar systems or whatever. So for now, this is all fine. Like, everything's holding up here without issues. So that's good. Just had to check by that. And my inventory is now 100% filled with junk. So let's see if it is safe to travel back home, and it is. Thank goodness. So we can head back that way.
Flight mode.
Off we go.
Cruise mode.
And we just make our way on over. Accelerate as fast as we can. And we can get back to our home planet and then figure out how all this science stuff is working. Because it looks currently like it's going pretty quickly. But we're going to run out of yellow science at some point. I just know it. And I would also like to see how much purple science we have backlogged in this time. Alright, so now we're back here, and we've landed on like the exact opposite side of the planet, basically, from where we need to be investigating. So let's start flying over this way. And we're going to have to stop by our chargers for a bit. Because we are below half, which means we have still have a lot of power left. Like, theoretically, this would have been about full in our previous setup, but... Alright, so now we land here. And we need to dump some of this stuff off. So, like, the graphite, we can just like manually fill these guys with graphite. And that will help just get some of that out of the way. And it looks like we somehow have enough plastic output. Alright, so we've managed to get rid of one of our stacks of graphite. That'll be enough. Our plastic output is actually stuck, as is our organic crystals. So, these guys here are actually just running full speed now and making all the yellow science that we want. That's actually fantastic news. It's like the best news I've ever had. So now yellow science just goes, and we finally managed to get on top of the plastic demand. So we have 1,000 yellow science left, and a couple hundred purple science left as well. So we should be able to finish off gravitational wave refraction basically instantly, and then we can start worrying about the next bit, which will be the mech warp. Well, we don't quite have the yellow science for mech warp yet, actually. I wonder if we just like add another row of yellow science production. I wonder if that's crazy. Yeah, it's probably good to just keep it steady for now. Like we have finally hit a point where we have enough resources. Let's not just instantly go and break everything again. Like, max yellow science production of a single tower is quite good, right? We can't even upgrade its height anymore. So this has got to be good enough. And it's able to output everything, including from the very top row and the very bottom row. Everything looks good. Okay, so yellow science has dropped down to like 800 while we were doing that. So gravitational lens is titanium crystals and the weird strange matter stuff. So then gravity matrices requires even more stuff to research. Alright, drive engine level 4 unlocks mecha warp. It uses an enormous amount of yellow science. So is there anything in here like... This requires everything but yellow science. It can show us ore reserves of planetary systems that are close. So that is a potential thing we might want. Corvette is a potential thing we might want, so we can start just like actually fighting dark fog in space, as opposed to just having to avoid them constantly. And the question is, what do we want to do first? So that is technically unlocked, but we definitely cannot actually get it because we don't have the research for it. Now, are any of these useful? Most of these are just going to be wasting the yellow science that we don't have access to. So let's actually figure out. So we have 1,000-ish yellow science currently. This is 9.4 per minute each, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's somewhere around 70 per minute, so somewhere in the vicinity of 1 per second. And then this...
Flight mode.
So it's basically going to take us 1,000 seconds to top off our yellow science stockpiles to get to here. I don't know. Let's just click the button and do the math later, right? So that is going through, and it's definitely going through way more than 1 per second. So we are eventually going to be just stuck waiting for the yellow science here. But that is fine. We will get there eventually. Also, I just remembered I still have all this junk to drop off.
Flight mode.
So, let's see. Like, you are completely saturated. So I guess what we can do is just like go down here, because I have a bunch of stacks of steel. No, I don't actually. That was one of the few things that I didn't do.
Flight mode.
Alright, so let's head down here and just get to where the raw resources are, because that's where most of our stacks are. Like all of these guys up here. So we have this. And we can just like real temporarily just
mineral depleted.
Feed a box of these guys into you, and that should take priority over the machines, which should be nice. And then we have a couple stacks of these, but nothing crazy. It's really the titanium and silicon that we want to be doing, and it also seems like that they can use the help. So you get one of those with a box on top, and then you get a couple stacks from there. Then we can go back here to the titanium, do the same thing. You get one of those, you get one of those. And then we send that through, and bam, titanium. So that should reduce the demand for titanium ore for quite a bit, and we can also get magnets. We have like 3.5 stacks of those, so that's probably worthwhile. So those are all in, and we're back to a point where we have plenty of space. So the magnets go in, and it seems like we were actually potentially a little bit low on magnet production, so that should be helpful. That should be helpful, and we'll just have to see. Alright, so science is going. We're down to 1,300, so we've done 700 science just since I last set that up. Should be fine. And our inventory has plenty of space in it for now, at least. Let's go back to investigating the science, since it's been a little bit. Hopefully we'll have enough time to figure out what this looks like over here right now. So this has dropped down by about like 500 since we last checked, but the science has dropped down by like 700. So it definitely isn't... It's obviously not keeping up, right? We knew it wasn't going to. It is falling behind a little bit more than I would have liked. Like, if this had been at 500 or 600 by now, then I think we'd be golden. But it could be a lot worse. It could definitely be a lot worse. And so we're just going to be waiting on the last couple hundred yellow science by the time this finishes. And we will have a good chunk of purple science by then as well, right? We're up to 500, which... 500 purple science, what is that enough to do? It's halfway enough to getting Cosmic Exploration Tier 3. And would also be just about enough to unlock Corvettes instantly. So either of those we want to do. Either of those we want to do would be quite manageable. Now let's... Okay, let's actually start being smart and working ahead, right? So Mecha Warp, probably, if I had to guess, requires some of these, like, space warpers, right? So, we need to make graviton lenses, which require diamonds and that strange matter stuff. So, go back to strange matter. This requires particle containers, iron, and deuterium. Okay, so that means that we're actually going to have to grab this deuterium that we've been cycling this entire time. Is that like back here maybe? No, it's... It actually might be. Yeah, this is it here. So we have plenty of deuterium for the foreseeable future. But we just need to actually use it, which is not going to be easy at all. So, this strange matter, what did you require? Where even are you? Strange matter is particle collider only, and it requires particle containers, iron ingots, and deuterium. And it produces strange matter, which is basically, I think, just only used for the space warper. So, the particle containers are down that way. The iron is obviously everywhere. The deuterium is here. So if we want the deuterium to be used, let's just put the deuterium onto the bus. So we can just take this belt, just like drag you along here, and then move you up a little bit, drag you along to there, and then you can just have this gigantic belt, which is going to have to take you all the way out past the rest of the bus here until it gets to the end of the bus, and we can attach it back up. So let's get that built. It's going to take quite a bit of time. Fortunately, we can get this started now. And the research is actually going quite well. We're down to 300 spare, but we don't have any stockpiles anymore, so it's going to slow down any second now. Probably already is slowing down. Alright, so we just keep on bringing this. Let's wrap it around that coal patch, I guess. Not sure whether that's better or worse than just paving over it. But coal is kind of hard to get, at least within this planetary system. Right, it's just on this planet, so we don't want to completely make it 100% inaccessible if we have the option. So we just have to keep getting all this stuff built. This is going to be an obnoxiously long belt, which doesn't follow our normal patterns, because I don't know why I didn't think to put deuterium on the bus back when I set this up. Like, it was so very obviously going to need it. Okay, so that is about as far as it needs to go. And now we just get all this stuff built. And it just keeps going. Alright, so now we are in the right general vicinity that you can just get a spot on the main bus right there. And in you go. Congratulations, deuterium is now a thing. Okay, so deuterium check. Particle containers we have somewhere, and we just need to drag them up. Same thing with iron, and then we're going to need to make particle accelerators, which is going to be a whole thing. I'm not looking forward to that process. That's going to take forever.
Flight mode.
Okay, now I think our particle containers were actually having production issues, like we didn't have enough of them. Alright, yeah, the last couple yellow sciences are just going through, and we can unlock mech warp any second now. Alright, so yeah, we're not going to be able to find particle colliders by looking at the bus. So this is their line, and they are missing... They're missing that... What are these called? Electromagnetic turbines.
Upgrade complete.
And not much we can do there. Alright, mech warp officially unlocked. Huzzah, very cool.
You're now able to warp. When the mecha escapes from the planet gravitational field, press caps lock to enable warp flight.
Okay, yet
The
another
activation
keybind
of
to
warp
remember.
flight consumes large amounts of energy and 1x space warper. If you want to travel through interstellar space, you'll need to prepare ample power and plenty of space warpers.
Alright. Alright, good to know. So that should be fine. We obviously are not going to be worried about that for a little bit. For now, let's just throw on... Let's see, what is this? That looks fancy. Satellite substation. Neat. I don't know what that does, but it looks cool. Let's unlock... Actually, we're so close to having... Like, the ability to get that is not far off. So let's just fire up Cosmic Exploration, shall we? Because that's going to be very useful for knowing, like, where we actually need to go to. Alright, so you need EM turbines. So let's fly back to figure out where our EM turbines get made and what's wrong with them. I don't know why flying in this particular way is just really weird and awkward for me. Okay, so you have 2 inputs. Those are doing fine. And it's the electromagnetic coils, which are not keeping up. And they're not stuck for any good reason. I guess they're a bit low on magnets, but we can just expand you out a bunch. Okay, and we have to obviously avoid the tropic line. Pop down another 3 and another 3. Now we should definitely get to the point where it's the magnet production which is the issue. So those go across. Those go across. That goes back up. And then we probably have to run down here to get some of this stuff built in. Like that. Okay, now let's just upgrade all this stuff real quick. And now we just have all the dumb sorters that we need to grab. Some of those. So I think those are over here. We'll just grab the mid-tier ones for this, because that's the one that the blueprint uses. And, alright, grabbed enough of those to finish off this task, and then hopefully the next couple situations where it's needed. Alright, so now all of those get built up. And this should now just be mostly sitting idle because not enough magnets and not enough copper. Oh boy, that's fun. Maybe there is enough copper, but it's just taking a while to catch up. Oh boy, there's just like basically no copper ore at all. So the magnets thing can be fixed. We just need to take those temporary little bits out, and the magnets just need more production. So that, let's get the tropic line and go down there. And our research was successful. So now we get all those in, and we just attach that across. And that should be everything for this. Just need to attach those last couple belts in. Alright, so now we should definitely have enough magnets. And now we need to go and figure out what horrible thing has happened to our poor copper ore supply, which is feeding exclusively from these two, and yeah, you need way more than that. So is there just like conveniently copper out there where we could use it? No, there is copper up there where we should be able to add a couple more in at least. So we need to craft up automated miners, which requires iron plates, which is this one. So we can craft up another solid chunk of those. And let's throw a research in. Obviously we can't do that one. A lot of these guys are going to be impractical for various reasons, but let's try doing the Corvette. I've wanted to fight Dark Fog in space for quite some time. So
replication complete.
Let's get started on that research just so that we have it. Alright, so now we have our mining machine. So we can head up here, and we just need to grab you in. That's not perfect, but hopefully we'll be fine. So this is just another 2 mining machines. So it's not great, but it's a pretty quick setup at least to help with all that. And we now just need to ramp you all the way around across a whole bunch of other belts and then pop into this one. And then you also need a power pole, which you can just go into there. And that flows all the way through and gives us more copper. And right now it looks almost like a full green belt of copper, which would be quite nice if it were true. So it's going through. It's definitely getting replicated, so that won't be an issue. By the way, how's power grid going? Power grid is pretty break-even at this point. Very break-even. So that is a bit of a concern. It is a bit of a concern, but hopefully should be fine. So now our EM coils have more resources going into them,
Flight mode.
which should mean that our particle containers all the way down the road can get a little bit better off. I don't even know what these are being used for. I don't even know what these are being used for, but it's definitely something. And the copper is
Extraterrestrial dark fog
stockpiling,
is assaulting.
so that all looks fine. Nothing is completely exploding. We have the resources here to actually fill some stuff up. Dark fog assault repulsed again, although we don't want to leave that off for too long. At some point we're just going to have to destroy that hive because it's getting very high leveled. Alright, now grab this. And what are you even being used for? What do these go out to? These go all the way out to here, where they run along this belt.
Flight mode.
And they go into those guys, which is a big task for them. They go into... So basically it's the logistics stations for these guys. The planetary and interstellar ones both require particle containers. Alright. That's fine. So we are just going to add these on. Theoretically, that should eventually not be an issue anymore. Like, let's actually confirm that. We're not producing like 10,000 of these guys, right? We're producing a reasonable, healthy quantity. Oh, no, we're just continually producing these for the gas giant production line thing. Okay, that's gonna be an issue. Because this belt is just so long. Yeah, this belt is just so long that they stockpile an enormous amount, more than needed. But it'll be fine. They'll sort themselves out eventually. Having more of those than needed is much better than not having enough, so it'll be fine. It'll still eventually stockpile back and stop running. And that I accidentally sent down to level 0. So we need to just dismantle all that and try again. So now you are all the way up here. And that just gets built. And these last couple chunks go in. And particle containers now have a path all the way up to here. So we have particle containers. We have deuterium. We have... There was a third thing, right? Oh, was it just like iron? Yeah, it was literally just iron. Which either is very close because it's used in everything, or very far because it's used in a lot of basic things. Alright, it's very close. That's the answer. Good to have. So this belt just runs forwards and it goes all the way forwards as far as it can. And that will be iron. So now we just need to actually get around to crafting up our particle accelerators, which I don't know how I'm going to do that. Alright, so that belt goes all the way forwards. Purple science is low on processors. The other stuff is going fine, which is nice. But the processors are the shortage now. But we're just going to leave that off for a little bit. And production, miniature particle collider. Alright, so we need to just craft one of those. And we need supermagnetic rings, frame materials, and titanium alloy. Okay, frame materials. I know we've researched those. It's carbon nanotubes, titanium, high purity silicon. Not too bad. I can get Dyson sphere components with those and solar sails as well. Alright, so we just need to get carbon nanotubes, titanium alloy, and the refined silicon is probably like 1 billion miles back, if I had to guess. Whereas the carbon nanotubes are right up here, and the titanium alloy isn't super far off. The refined silicon... Oh, we should have the refined silicon going into this, right? Yes. So that's actually not nearly as bad as I was worrying it would be. So we bring this belt forwards as far as it'll go, all the way up to the front of the line. And then our next step will be locating the titanium alloy. Alright, so that's built up. Now, titanium alloy, it's going to be out this way. Past the plastic, maybe. Yeah, here it is. So, we grab you. Oh, I have to grab it correctly from the top port. And we start building this gigantic row. And it goes all the way out to there. Where are my drones? Okay, my drones just went to build something on the other side of the planet for some reason. I assumed that they thought that was a good idea at the time. Just caused a random little delay. Right, 22 science remaining until we get corvettes or destroyers or whatever these are. Corvettes. Okay, so frame material. We need, first of all, we're going to need a bunch of foundation for this. Frame material is just in a regular old assembler, right? Yes, it is. Very cool. Assembler row V4.
Research complete.
Alright. Corvette unlocked. Auto place foundation.
You've unlocked warship to fight against dark fog in space. Corvette is a small warship. It attacks with EM weapons and is very powerful in long-range combat.
Cool. So that will be... Let's see, what does it take to build those? A bunch of the same kind of stuff that everything else takes, basically. So small Space Force vessels. So we are just going to ignore that for now and make frame material. So this needs carbon nanotubes, titanium alloy, high purity silicon. What did I bring the iron here for? Was I trying to do something? Oh, right. I was... The strange matter is made in particle colliders, so I brought all that stuff up. But I don't actually have particle colliders because I need to make the frame material first. Okay, so... Carbon nanotubes, high purity silicon. All those should be just right here. Pop a foundation down there so that we can get the splitter in. And that goes forwards, and then we actually take you out the back of the splitter so that you can go back that way. Alright, high purity silicon, check. Next up, we truck down here for the titanium alloy, which... Gross, don't do that. Just go in the top port like a regular belt would. And then the next one comes out the bottom port and just sort of wraps around this way. And apparently we can't squeeze in that small gap, so you just go around like so. Alright, and now it's just the carbon nanotubes. So those go all the way out this way. And that should be fine. So those go directly forwards into there. And it's just important that we keep track of what line everything is supposed to be on so we don't accidentally put it on the wrong one and break the entire system. So that then wraps around, goes in there, and we have frame material check. Alright, nice and easy. Now let's just add these onto the main bus because they're going to be used for various items at some point. So those go all the way out to here, and they're going to be one past the deuterium, so they're going to be in that area, which needs foundations. So you go into there, and get plopped down, and frame material check. Okay, so that is that. Now we have everything on the bus to craft miniature particle colliders. I can't imagine needing 50 of these at any point, so we're just going to grab the items manually. So we grab a bunch of those. We're going to need to come back for more. Titanium alloy and supermagnetic rings are both limiting factors right now. So let's grab the titanium alloy. And the supermagnetic rings are going to be back there somewhere. Now we have barely enough frame material.
Flight mode.
Alright, supermagnetic rings. Where are you? Here you are. Alright, so now we have enough of those. We can craft up one singular miniature particle accelerator. Bring you all the way down here. And power is actually getting a bit low, so we're going to have to recharge. We still have, hopefully, enough time on our power supply to finish this off. I guess if we don't, we can always just chuck some fuel in. So, go to production. How big is this? It's pretty dang big. Okay. So let's get a nice solid area, something like that. And then the specific recipe we need is 3 inputs, 1 output. So let's get belt number 1, belt number 2, belt number 3, particle accelerator. We wanted to build this pretty far back, actually, because we need room for the replicator stuff on the output. So particle accelerator goes in somewhere like that. And then it has an output belt over here, which just goes forwards a whole bunch. And you get replicator on it, which gets connected across. Okay, then we get a power pole in. We have to connect all these belts up, which is going to mean extending them a little bit. And then they all go into there. Now, what recipes do we even have? We can just make deuterium without having to do the whole fractionating thing, or we can make strange matter. Those are literally the only two things this machine does. So let's make strange matter. Alright, so deuterium, particle collectors, and iron. So, iron will be first because it's right here. You need some space, so let's just give you some foundations in there. And you just go in like that, as far back as it'll go without getting in the way of these other belts. Okay, I just clicked the wrong spot. There we go. Now, you can actually squeeze out that way and go into there. So that is iron supplied. Next up, we have the particle thingamabobs and the deuterium. Alright, so the particle containers. We go down here, we just put a speck of foundation in, and we put the splitter, and this all goes across. And that goes all the way down and wraps into that. Then finally the deuterium, which is just right up here. And we just need to get that in. So that goes across. Then it comes out. And all the way down this way. And in it goes. Okay. So that should give us our strange whatchamacallits. Strange matters. Yes. Strange matters, check. Next. Alright, so that's done. Now we need to take that plus 4 diamonds to make a graviton lens. And we take a graviton lens to make a space warper. And that's in an assembler. Graviton lens is also in an assembler. So that's cool. Let's head back and recharge, because we are down quite low on power. Fortunately, this trip is going to be a bit of power as well. And while we're here, we can check on how much science we have stockpiled so we can figure out what we need to research next. So that just fills us up, and we can store so much power now that we don't have to do this nearly as frequently, but when we do have to do it, it takes a fair chunk of time, unfortunately. And we could just set up like fuel cell usage round the clock, but it is technically a little bit wasteful, I think. Okay, and we're also going to have to increase power production at some point, because we are slightly exceeding what our power grid is capable of. We have so much accumulator storage that like it shouldn't be an issue for a while, especially with how close it is, but we are going to need to set up our power. So in the meantime, we have 37 purple science and like 1,000-ish yellow science stockpiled. So let's see. Destroyers require green science. Attack drones are just for ground-based stuff, probably. I don't know what this whole satellite substation thing is, but it might be quite handy for power delivery. So it's probably, right, it's probably an upgraded wireless thing, which would not be bad to have by any means. Okay, let's just get like some of these random researches done, like high strength glass, casimir crystals. I don't know what like any of these things do for us. Like, I guess eventually we'll get to better miners and smelters like a million years down the line, and better chemical plants and space warpers. But Doesn't seem super valuable, but it'll be nice to have to some extent anyways. What will be very nice to have is Logistics Carrier Capacity 4 and Logistics Carrier Engine 4, which unlocks Logistic Vessel Warp. So we need 1,000 purple science for that, so it's a bit away. But hopefully that'll definitely be necessary for getting like permanent setups on other solar systems. So let's see here. What were we? We were waiting on something, right? I don't think actually we were waiting on anything. I think we just stopped by to check on our power grid and got distracted. It's very easy to get distracted in this game. Too many things going on all at once. So we're now all the way back here. We have our strange matter. We need to just have you output the strange matter. There we go. So that's set up. And that needs to head all the way down here into a designated splitter, which will be there, I believe, because the previous one to go in was the frames. Alright, so now we just bring this belt all the way up there and in to that. So now this all just goes, and we have strange matter on the bus. So, next up, we need to get assembler row V4, get one of you placed, use some foundations to do it, and now you are going to be making graviton lenses. And that's easy, it's just strange matter plus diamonds. So we're going to have to go and find some diamonds, I guess.
Light mode.
I think we haven't used those since yellow science, probably. Alright, so here's yellow science. Here's our arc smelters making diamonds. Those go out here, and that's this one. So this just has to go forwards. And it just keeps on going forwards. Alright, titanium glass. That, I'm sure, is used for something at some point. Probably won't be completely useless. So we just keep running this forwards until it gets to where it needs to be. And a little bit more. There we go. So that is diamonds all the way to here. So now we just need to get a foundation down for them and have them use that foundation to go out and into this whole area. And now they just run all the way across the bus and down to there. Then we need another foundation out there for our strange matter. So that gets attached up and then comes out and into the machine. Alright, so that is that. Everything gets built and we're all good. So now these are producing and we have our warp drive things. We need to connect that belt up. There we are. And we're down to 28 belts, so we're going to have to run back to get those restocked. And speaking of, I wonder if we can get the research for distribution range. That's 1,000 purple, so probably not. Let's just do logistics carrier capacity.
Light mode.
And we can save up a bit of purple to get some of those upgrades later. So the logistics carrier capacity should be no breaks,
Light
just
mode.
get finished. Alright, so now we can stand here, and some of these drones can show up. And let's just run down.
Flight
Let's
mode.
just run down to where they actually are, which is pretty close. So now we can stand here and get charged up by these drones. Yeah, the drones in this are like significantly weaker, in my experience, than the drones in Factorio or obviously the Dimensional Depot in Satisfactory.
Flight
But
mode.
they're still reasonably acceptable. It's just a little bit slow compared to what I'm used to. And also, it's entirely possible I'm just straight up doing something wrong, so I don't want to discount that possibility either. Alright, so now we're down to here. And we just need to take these guys out. And these guys, this belt needs to go out there just in case we somehow need this spot on the bus at some point. Just in case that spot on the bus somehow becomes necessary, might as well add it in. And then it's gonna be, needs a foundation. There we go, foundation, and it just goes in like that. Alright, so those are all connected up, and now we just need to bring them right back down, and let's just do this from the same splitter, just because it's kind of funny, for the matter warper. So we go right back down to here, and we get another one of these guys in, place the foundation, and we're going to need to grab another assembly machine, but you get to be Space Warper, and we'll paste that recipe into there as well. So you are just successfully producing Space Warpers. Now we need to go and find our... We need to actually go and find our production of the... what's it called? Assembly machine ones. Which I don't know... It's probably not anywhere on this main bus. Probably just have to go up to poke at the old factory and grab some that way. So let's fly up here, and then here we are. They even have one of those guys in, but I assume oh, no, I do have that set up properly. So that whole trip was wasted. Very cool. You hate to see it, but it is what it is. These drones are delivering some stuff for me, so I may as well stop by and let them do it before they get stuck forever. And then we fly back down. Alright, logistics carrier upgrade again. Very cool. And low enough that I might as well stop by the charging pad for a little bit. And I should probably just go and get some of these to build around in various locations so that I don't have to have just this one spot for it.
Extraterrestrial dark
So that's
fog
all
is
charged
assaulting.
up. Agena 1 probably is going to be needing help soon.
Mineral depleted.
Alright, so now we're back over here. That one gets built up. Now we've got two of these. And we are going to take this, run it along past the main bus, and put it into a box. Alright, so now we just have to do this same setup we've done a couple of times, where we just pop one of those down, put a splitter on there with a box on top. Box could be limited to one stack, probably should be more than enough. And then that goes in, and this can get filled up with space warpers. Okay, so now that we have that, we have a bunch of space warpers. We have like 20 of them. What other research can we get to? So we can, I guess, start like some of that, because we are going to want to start setting up this whole setup with rays and solar sails and stuff. Because so far, right, so far I haven't actually done anything with like Dyson spheres. Now, I don't know if Dyson sphere component, if this itself like produces power like with solar sails and stuff. I think it might. I'm not entirely clear on how that works, but if we could set those up, that would be quite cool. So we, in order to do that, because the power grid here is genuinely starting to be strained, right? I mean, it's very, very close either way. Alright, ray transmission efficiency down. We can just keep doing those, but we can get another vertical construction level. That's actually important. Let's get those. Alright, so let's actually check in the technology tree when we unlocked those things. So you... high strength light rate structures, it doesn't say. Vertical launch silo. Okay, so we need to get to this. Vertical launch silo, small carrier rockets, the delivery vehicle for Dyson sphere components. And then I don't know what that does, but it's hard to say. So we need to get to the quantum whatchamacallits. We need to get to the quantum chips in order to officially start making an actual Dyson sphere. Until then, we're just limited to the solar sails, I guess. Which is fine. So, those are graphene plus photon combiners. And then they're launched via an EM rail ejector, which launches solar sails into the Dyson swarm. Or we could just ignore it and make just another couple rows of solar panels here on this planet. That's always an option as well. Now, theoretically, we have the ability to do warp travel stuff, right? And that's, I guess you just zoom out. So, this place is the closest, right? And you've got all sorts of stuff. You're 4 light years away. You have organic crystals, grating crystals, fractal silicon, crude oil, and all that stuff. So that's interesting. You're even closer. You have a sulfuric acid ocean and fire ice mines. Alright, how do I like actually tell like what the closest things are? It's hard to say. So that's 4 light years, that's like a bunch. Dark fog star map monitor. That's a fun thing up there that I've just discovered. I guess we can change that setting. Maybe it'll be useful. Alright, I don't know what North Pole Lock does. Doesn't seem to do much of anything. So that's a red giant 9 light years away. This one is 3 light years away. And it's got 2 planets around it. What was I doing? So you just scroll out, right? And then you can select one of these guys. And you have all sorts of fun stuff. So if I set that as the indicator, and maybe I'll just pin you. Right, so that we click view, and you've got a gas giant and all sorts of. You've got a lava planet, a Sakura ocean planet, apparently. I've never heard of that. And then an ice giant. Alright, let's try to go exploring that. So we can grab a bunch of those, right?
Flight mode.
And we want a bunch of power, so we don't want to run out of power, so let's grab like a ton of hydrogen fuel containers. Then what do we need? We need like mining drills, gas giant extractors maybe, and like ocean extractors. I guess let's just keep this as like a simple exploration thing. So we have water pumps. Let's just get another water pump maybe. Just have a couple of those. And so let's craft up a second water pump. Just so we can have 2 instead of just 1. That'll be nice to have. So we have 5 mining machines. That's probably not enough. So let's make even more, and you are short on iron plates. So let's grab a bunch of those. And then craft up like another 10 mining machines. So for power poles, we've got 100. We're going to want a bunch of solar panels and accumulators. Because we don't want to have to deal with power situations while we're doing this. So the solar panels are down this way. And the accumulators are going to be, let's see, somewhere around here, right?
Replication complete.
So we can just yoink some accumulators out of that. And that should be plenty. So then we have power poles, check. We have stuff to extract resources, check. We've got belts and splitters and everything. We got boxes. We have some machines, although I don't know how much machining stuff we're going to be doing. We have a couple orbital collectors, if that's important. And interstellar logistics systems, if that's important. And we've got laser turrets and a battlefield analysis base. Let's get a second one of those, which needs microcrystalline components, which I should be able to get by just grabbing some of those, hopefully. Okay, so this should let us set up kind of permanent-ish bases on all these planets. And then,
replication complete.
Aside from all that, we want to dump out as much of our inventory as possible so we have space to bring goodies back. So let's go stand in the charging port and dump out like basically just all this random crafting materials. Because we shouldn't be doing much crafting at all when we're there. Alright, so that's one box full. Here's another box. We can continue to just throw some of this stuff away. Keeping some foundations on hand would be nice. We shouldn't need to set up missiles or any of that stuff. Don't want spray coaters or logistics distributors at the moment. Mining machines, all these oil extractors and arc smelters can go. And let's just sort this again to compress it a little bit. Thermal power plant, oil refineries, chemical plants, all not needed. Logistic stations might be useful. Science definitely isn't.
Extraterrestrial dark fog is
Turrets
assaulting.
other than laser turrets, not needed either. Okay. So this should theoretically be everything that we need. Now, we need to make sure that this is indicating where we're going. And then we need to make sure dark fog is not in the way, and I'm pretty sure it isn't. Alright, let's go.
Flight mode. Cruise mode.
And we need to click caps lock. I'm not sure when we become able to click caps lock. Not enough space warpers for a warp. Well, that's... I thought I had like 80 of them. Apparently that's not enough.
Cruise
Okay.
ended.
That's mysterious. We have 84.
Flight mode.
So I thought 84 would definitely be plenty. But I guess not, so we're gonna have to run around and see. I wonder if it's actually faster to go that way at this point. I have to run around and see how many we need. And if it takes like 100, then we're gonna need like another 100 in order to guarantee we can make it back. Because I definitely don't want to get stuck there. That would be really catastrophic. So let's fly down and see how our space warper production is going. I thought you would not need like hundreds of them. I thought you might need like 10 or 15 for a warp at most. Alright, so we have 150. And does it say anywhere how much we need for a warp? Let's see, it doesn't say there. Maybe it says like when you scroll out
Upgrade
to
complete.
the planet. Alright, we've gotten that upgrade. You are... I don't know, what is this? What does this do? Who knows? That's for route somewhere there. It doesn't say anywhere like estimated amount of stuff that we need to take. Dark Fog Space Hive, though. I'm seeing that number is slowly creeping up now, which I don't feel super confident about. Now this is going, and it's just 5.6 per minute. You're 9.4 per minute. So we can just like expand this row a little bit so that we just get more production going. And let's just get a couple more of those in. And then most of these belts aren't even needed to be used like this. And we got rid of all of our assembly machines to save inventory space. So we're gonna have to go and pick those up. Alright.
Flight mode.
Assembly machines. Where did I leave you? I left you by the charger, I think, right? should be down this way
Mineral
some.
depleted.
In one of these. Let's see here. Are you assembly machines? No. Are you assembly machines? Yes.
Flight mode.
Alright, so we grab those, we bring them over, and now we can get this built, and that should, in theory, get us all that we need, right? So this is 1-to-1 every 10 seconds, and these produce every 6 seconds, so theoretically this will be a little bit too much Space Warper production compared to what we have, but that's fine. This doesn't have enough particle containers to do everything,
Flight mode.
which is quite annoying. We really need to fix those particle containers. Alright, we have 198. I think when we get up to 200, I'm going to go for it. Alright, we have 201.
Flight mode.
So, let's try this again. We're going to get our Space Warpers, we're going to recharge up to max power, and we're going to launch. So all the way up to max power, and there we go. Is there actually a tutorial for Space Warpers anywhere in here? It doesn't look like it. The most recent one is Combat Drones, which is absolutely eons ago. Okay, let's just try to go for it. And actually, wait. Actually, instead of just going for it, let's save the game and then just go for it. That seems like a good idea. Alright, game saved. Now, we will throw some power in, and we will launch. Alright, so I think maybe we start by getting up to max speed, maybe. It still says not enough Space Warpers. Alright, so maybe we start by getting up to max speed, and that is important. Not enough Space Warpers for a warp. How many do you need? Because I literally have, like, 200. It's 2 full stacks, which you'd think would be enough. But apparently not. So we turn around, and we will just drop back down to our home planet, having completely failed.
Cruise ended.
Alright, here we are. Seem to be right by all this stuff, our science production and everything. So let's just... Alright, we're gonna have to just recharge, and I think probably call it there for the day. I'm gonna have to research how exactly Space Warpers work and how we're supposed to get anywhere at all, because obviously we're not having much success with our current setup. We have almost no yellow science at the moment, so it's not really point queuing up more science right now. But yeah, I think we're going to wrap up the stream here, and I will try to just do a quick Google and figure out how exactly Space Warpers work and how we're supposed to get to any other planets. Does it just need thousands of them? Maybe? Who knows? But yeah, so we will be doing Factorio tomorrow, where we are probably going to be getting started working on getting legendary Aquilo buildings, so cryogenic plants, and there's probably 1 or 2 other things there. And then we'll be back here on Thursday, where we will almost definitely be going to another solar system. If not, then I'll be very disappointed. But yeah, so that'll be that for today. Thanks for hanging out. And make sure to follow if you haven't already. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time, playing various factory building games. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure to stop by and give me a watch, and follow if you haven't already. So that's about it. Thanks ever for hanging out, and I will see you guys next time.